Guess who's back, ladies and gentlemen? I guess that's staying there. So, check out this setup. We're in the $10 million office. No, I'm just kidding. It's a WeWork, but still, it's a little bit more of a professional setup today. Specifically because I'm just recording our new onboarding process. So I thought, got the camera out, why not record another killer YouTube video? But with that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. So what I want to talk about, this is probably going to be a quicker video, except I tend to rant, so most likely it's not going to be quick. But Gary Vee is the one who said this, and he says, slow down the macro and speed up the micro. So what he means by that is, A, you've got time in life to get your shit together, but ideally get your shit together fast. So what I mean by that is when you kind of grasp the idea of you really do have time, you know, like I myself, I'm 19 and I've already been in business for 4 years, which is very, very minimal when I really think about the long span of things. But I mean, 4 years, that's still decent, you know? And I mean, by 19, I'd say that's a lot. But with that being said, I'm not even a quarter of the way into my life. Like, I have so much time still. It's insane. But what Gary is saying, because I personally, I don't like patience. I don't like being patient. But I do think it's very, very important to be patient in terms of understanding that things take time, especially good things. Like, most of the time, good things take time, whereas bad things or negative things can happen a lot quicker, you know? So it's kind of that whole quick gratification, you know? So you can easily reach for the TV remote and turn on Netflix, whereas it's a little harder and it takes a little longer to get that gratifying and fulfilling feeling when you're just slaving away every day at your business or at your work and you don't see the results from it until tomorrow or a week later or a month later or a year later or 10 years later or however long it takes. But overall, getting back to the main point, slow down the macro, speed up the micro. Basically just really think about and understand, and if you can, whatever your goal is, whatever your vision is, whether it's, let's say it's becoming a millionaire, okay, that's your grand goal or vision. I'd recommend getting a lot more specific than that, like way more specific. That's way too vague, but just for example purposes, let's say your goal is to become a millionaire. Instead of saying like, I'm gonna become a millionaire by next year, I wanna become a millionaire in 2 years, or by the time I'm 21 or 23, or whatever it is. Instead, say, I'm going to become a millionaire within the next 10 years, you know, something like that. Because then it takes a weight off your shoulders, because then you're like, I've got 10 years to do it. Like, if I don't become a millionaire next year, cool. Like, I'll be a millionaire in 9 years, or whatever, you know? Just changing it so that you've got that macro look on things, but at the same time, every single day, attacking every single day as if your life depends on becoming a millionaire as quickly as possible. But this also goes into another point, which is not setting time frames with your goals. So this is something I learned recently, and actually it is extremely helpful, which is most people, they set a goal and they set a timeline for that goal. Now, for some things, I think that makes sense. Like, I do think it makes sense to set like a specific date or time that you want to achieve something by. But in terms of like business and stuff, for example, it's kind of impossible to do that. And humans in general, we literally, like, our minds can't really fathom or come up with accurately how long something is going to take, especially with business. I mean, most of the time, things take a lot longer than you expect. Like, you might think that, oh man, I just figured out the secret to growing my business, so I'm going to be killing it a month from now. And then boom, 6 months from now, you're actually in a worse situation than you were when you originally said that. That's kind of, it's like a yo-yo when it comes to business a lot of times, and a lot of things in life. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, if you don't set a date for that goal to be hit by, it also takes a massive weight off your shoulders, and it just allows you to continue working towards that goal without having that stress of having to achieve it by X date. Like for example, if I say, okay, I want to go make, or I want to get my business to $50,000 a month by in 6 months from now. Well, a month from now, if I'm not getting too close to that goal of 50,000 a month, I might be like, okay, well, we're making progress, we're getting there, we still have 5 months to go. 3 months from now, if I'm not getting close to that 50K a month, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, we're running out of time here. And then once I hit that 6 months, if I'm not at 50K a month, I might be at 40K a month. But if I don't hit 50K a month, I technically still failed. Now, take that scenario. Now take the different scenario and the different approach of it, where instead of saying in 6 months from now, just simply saying, I want to get my business, or I'm going to get my business to 50K a month. Now, just by saying that, obviously you need to have discipline and you need to map out the steps in order to get there. But every single day, every month, or whatever timeline it is, as long as you continuously keep working towards that, you might be kind of working towards it and things are moving slowly, but as long as you're seeing the progress, then you're not gonna have that overwhelming feeling of you may fail. Because if you set that timeline of I need to achieve this in 6 months, then you have that ability to fail, because if you don't achieve it in 6 months, even if you came close and even if you're killing it, you still failed. Even if you're at 49,000 a month in 6 months, you still technically failed because your goal was 50. Whereas if you just say, I'm gonna hit 50K a month, well, if you hit that a year from now, you achieve your goal, you hit it. And then from there, you can set your next one, which is, I'm gonna get to 100K a month. And then it might take you, that time, it'll probably take you half the time because you got to 50, and usually the next 50 is gonna be quicker because you figured stuff out in order to get to 50. But overall, the idea is eliminate the timeline and literally just set the goal, get really specific. That's a topic for another video. But just set the goal and understand where you're trying to get to, but don't anchor yourself to an actual timeline. But going back to the main point, that doesn't mean to be patient. That doesn't mean to be like, oh, well, I'll eventually hit 50K a month so I can chill today. No, you still need to speed up the micro, which means getting more done daily, getting as much done as possible daily in order to move forward as much as possible every single day in order to get to that goal. Now, that goes into other topics that I can mention in other videos in terms of how to be motivated and how to stay disciplined and all those types of things. But at the end of the day, what I wanted to talk about is it takes a massive weight off your shoulders if you can extend the timeline and you can slow down the macro, which is understand that you really do have a lot of time. If you are around my age, if you're 19, 20, 18, 16, if you're a 12-year-old prodigy, first of all, I hate you. No, I'm just kidding. You're killing it. But anyway, if you're whatever age you are, just understand you've still got so much time. Shit might be going completely wrong right now. You might be super far in debt right now, and you're like, oh shit, I don't know what to do. But just understand, you have so much time still to figure it out. Literally just think I don't need to hit that goal for if I hit that goal in 10 years, for me, say that, let's go back to the millionaire thing. Say that instead of me saying, I want to be a millionaire by next year, instead I say, I'm going to be a millionaire within 10 years. Well, if it takes me 10 years, I'll be 29. I'll still be so young, that is so young to become a millionaire still. So when you really think that way and you think about the macro and you think 10 years is a long time, a lot can happen in 10 years, it really just takes a massive weight off your shoulders. So hopefully this makes sense. I tend to rant on, but I try to keep this raw and transparent and just I think as I talk. But anyway, at the end of the day, slow down the macro, understand that you really do have a lot of time, but at the same time, don't be patient, attack every single day as quickly as you can, as productively as you can, and try to get as much done as you can as possible every single day in order to get closer and closer and closer to whatever that goal may be. But with that being said, I'll leave you with that. So hopefully you liked the video. If you did, subscribe. If you didn't, comment why below, and I'll get back to you, and we can have an argument and figure out who's right. I am. but I'm kidding. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.